Okay, we start again, Parashat Shmini. Parashat Shmini, I just want to do introduction before we start. Parashat Shmini starts that HaKadosh Baruch Hu command Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu actually will see that he summoned Aaron and his son in the elderly of Israel. But we'll do introduction. In the year 2449 for the creation, in Aleph Sivan, the first of Sivan, Rosh Chodesh Sivan, Moshe Rabbeinu built the tabernacle, and he does not take it apart anymore until they're going to start again with the Masaot. Masaot is with the traveling. And how do they know when to travel? It's only when the cloud of glory start moving up above the tent of Israel, then they used to know that that's the time that they have to start taking down the tent, folding up all their goods, because they start marching. Okay, Aaron HaKohen, and the first of Nisan, 2449 years for the creation, start serving as a Kohen Gadol at the Mishkan. Not only that, okay, and that day that Aaron starts serving as a Kohen Gadol, his kids also start serving as a Kohanim. Our sages tell us that his wife Elisheva was the wife of Aaron HaKohen, saw 5 very happy things on that day. That's mean Rosh Chodesh Nisan, 2449 for the creation. 5 nice things happen on that day, beside many others that happen on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, in the month of Nisan. Number 1, that her brother-in-law, Moshe Rabbeinu, become a king of the Jewish people. Number 2, her husband become Kohen Gadol. Okay, Aaron become Kohen Gadol. Her son, Eliezer, become a vice to his father as a Kohen Gadol, Sgan Kohen Gadol. Her brother, Nahshon, become a prince of his tribes, the prince of the tribes. And number 5, her grandson, Pinchas, become Mashuach Milchama. What it mean, Mashuach Milchama? It means that he been anointed as a Kohen, that he can lead the Jewish people to a war. So she saw that now her grandson can lead the Jewish people to a war. Although we all know, we read in a Parsha, she also saw one tragedy that Nadav and Avihu died on that time, that when they tried to bring Esh Zara. So, בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. בעזרת השם, we're going to start the parsha. ויהי ביום השמיני, קרא משה לאהרון ולבניו ולזקני ישראל.
It was on the 8th day Moshe summoned Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel.
Okay, here we see that Moshe summons Aaron, the sons, and the elderly of Israel. Why? Rashi bring the Midrash Tanhuma that said that it was on Rosh Chodesh Nisan that Moshe Rabbeinu summons Aaron to start serving as a Kohen Gadol at the Mishkan by a command from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, obviously. And the main reason here that he summons everyone there, that other people wouldn't say, number 1, that Aaron decided to start serving by himself, and not only that, that no one can enter to serve in a tabernacle. Okay. In verse 2, ויאמר אל אהרון, קח לך עגל בן בקר לחטאת ועי לעולה תמים והקרב לפני אדוני.
He said to Aaron, take for yourself a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for an elevation offering, unblemished, and offer them before Hashem.
Okay, so we have to understand, the Torah tells us something very interesting. What does it say? ויאמר אל אהרון, קח לך. here Moshe command, what did he command them? Take for you. What does it mean, take for you? So to understand that, קח לך, Rashi HaKadosh say that Aaron actually was shy to start serving at the Mishkan, at the tabernacle. So he said to him, קח לך, because you so shy to start serving at the tabernacle as a Kohen Gadol, that's the main reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chosen you to start serving as a Kohen Gadol. So why is that? Why it's so important? So the Noda B'Yehuda. Who was the Noda B'Yehuda? Rabbi Yecheskel Landa. He born 301 years ago in Poland. And he was the chief rabbi of Prague, the city of Prague. And he said that the main reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe to command Aaron to start serving in Mishkan, why? Dafka, because he was shy. What does it come to teach us? It's come to teach us a very important thing. What our sages say, Bimkomcha yoshivucha. That means in a place that you're supposed to be, that's where you're going to be. It's not going to help if you try to manipulate, if you try to do any other tricks to get anything. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu decide to put you there, that's where you're going to be. No one else can manipulate. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to be the Kohen Gadol, or he wants you, lehavdil, to be the managing director, that's what you're going to be. And not going to help whatever other one else will do. Because to show us that everything from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the Noda B'Yehuda. But the question is, been asked, why did Aaron was shy to start serving as a Kohen Gadol? What was wrong? So to understand that, we have to go to the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, in chapter 22, page 2, and the Gemara says like this: אין מעמידים פרנס על הציבור, אלא אם כן קופה של שרצים תלויה מאחריו. That means that we're not going to choose someone to become a leader, a rabbi of a congregation, a hazan, or a president of a shul, or a chairman of the shul, if he doesn't have a pass. Why? Why is that? So the Gemara explains very important thing. The Gemara tells us that the main reason for us, that if a person become important, he get important position as a leader of the Jewish people, have to have a pass. Why is that? That Chas v'Shalom, if he become too arrogant, they will remind him his past, and then to lower him down, that he mustn't forget basically where he come from. It's the same with Aaron. Aaron been misled, and by mistake he created the golden calf. Dafka, because that he been chosen to become Kohen Gadol. That if one day he gonna get over Chas v'Shalom, and we saw that Aaron HaKohen was so humble that even when his two kids die, he keep quiet. So Chas v'Shalom, that if that person or Kohen have anything to say, too proud, they remind him his past. That's what the Gemara says. Okay. Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim say, ask a different question. If we look at the continue of that pasuk, what it says, קח לך עגל בן בקר לחטאת ועי לעורלה תמימים. You should take basically, number one, עגל is a calf, and then you should take Al as a ram. Okay, we understand. If we look at it carefully, Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim say, I can understand the calf. What is the calf? We all know lehatat. What it mean hatat? Korban hatat. That means that when a person created a sin by mistake, you have to bring the offering of hatat. We know that by mistake, Aaron HaKohen created the golden calf. But Ay le'olah, the ram, Korban Olah. Why does the offering of Olah have to come here? So Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim bring the opinion of a Kli Yakar. Who was the Kli Yakar? The Kli Yakar was Rabbi Shlomo Ephraim Milondovich. He born in Poland 464 years ago, and he explained that the main reason that Aaron have to bring Korban Olah, the offering of Olah, because what was Korban Olah come for? Number one, to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Number two is for the fault. If a person have a fault of Avodah Zarah, even that he didn't done it, just the fault of worshipping Avodah Zarah, or benefiting or enjoying from Avodah Zarah, have to bring an offering of Korban Olah. So we know what's happened there. That the main reason that Aaron brought the Korban Olah, the offering of the sacrifice of Olah, to forgive the sin of the Jewish people. The Jewish people didn't create the golden calf. We explained in the previous Shorim that was Erev Rav. So the main reason is, but the Jewish people were standing there while the golden calf created. They enjoy from that mahshavad, from that thought. They have to bring a sacrifice of Olah. So here we see three opinions, okay, just about the third pasuk, and we explain why did Aaron HaKohen have to bring two different sacrifices. We'll go to verse 6, and verse 6, it says like this. verse 6, ויאמר משה, זה הדבר אשר ציווה אדוני תעשו, וירא אליכם כבוד אדוני.
Moshe said, "This is the thing that Hashem has commanded you to do. Then the glory of Hashem will appear to you."
בעל חידושי ערים. בעל חידושי ערים was Rabbi Yitzhak Meir מרוטנבורג. He born 215 years ago, and he was a descendant of Rashi HaKadosh. And he said, if you read that pasuk, the Torah tells us to do something, but she doesn't tell us what to do. What does it mean? The Torah tells us if you do whatever you have to do, then the presence of the Almighty will appear on you. But the Torah doesn't tell us what to do. You understand the question, Rabotai? So, Baal Hidushei Arim, that's the name of his book. And he explained. The Torah here comes to tell us a very important thing. That we should conquer the evil inclination that we have in our hearts about hatred, about mahloket, faribol, all of that yetzer hara of sinat hinam, baseless hatred. When we take that of our heart, we conquer that yetzer hara, and instead bring the unity together, the peaceful, and no more faribol, no more argument, that we can live in peace and harmony, then only then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to do to us? Will bring on us His presence. Not only that, Hidushei Arim said that once that you have the presence of the Almighty over you, that will protect you. Which one of us doesn't need today protection? So here's the remedy. If you take all the baseless hatred, the baseless argument, mahloket, and leave it aside, put it in a closet, or throw it actually to the garbage, and change your heart, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not only that going to bring His presence on you, He's going to protect you. That's from Baal Hidushei Arim. We're going to move on to verse 22. In verse 22, here we see that Aharon blessing the Jewish people for the first time. Okay, and we're going to explain that pasuk. And it says like this: "Vayisa Aharon et yadav el ha'am, vayivarchem, vayered me'asot hatat va'ola ve'ashelamim."
Aaron raised his hands towards the people and blessed them. Then he descended from having performed the sin offering and the elevation offering and the peace offering.
Okay, that's here is the first time that actually Aharon as a Kohen Gadol blessed the Jewish people with the blessing of Birkat Kohanim. But if we read that pasuk, it say Yadav. In a Sefer Torah, it's actually say Yado. The letters U is missing. Why? What does it come to teach us? To understand that, okay, there is a Kabbalistic explanation to it, and we're going to bring the source that it's halacha today. What's the reason for it? So the Zohar say, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai wrote in the Zohar, that when the Kohen Gadol, that it was at that time Aharon HaKohen, when he blessed the Jewish people, it say Yado. What it mean Yado? That his right hand was a little bit higher than the left hand. So the Zohar explained from here, we're learning halacha, that when the Kohanim today bless the Jewish people, the right hand should be higher than the left hand. Okay? And that's, by the way, Paskin leHalacha and Shulchan Aruch, if people want to check it up, Orach Chaim 128, Siman 128, Sa'if Yud Bet, that means Sa'if 12. Okay, but what's the reason for it? So the Zohar explained that the main reason for it is to show Hasadim. Hasadim is kindness. So what does it mean? To show that Midat HaChesed is higher than Midat HaDin. We know that the left always show the Midat HaDin, the judgment, and the right show Hasadim, that means mercies. It's come to tell you when you bless the Jewish people, should be Midat HaChesed on them, that means the kindness. That they should have a lot of mercies on us when they bless us. If we look at Birkat Kohanim, we'll see that there is 3 different brachot there. The first bracha, Yevarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. The second one, Ya'er Hashem panav elecha. And the third one, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. So Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim tell us that the main reason that Aharon blessed the Jewish people with those 3, why is that? Number 1, because he brought the Korban Hatat for the first brocha. The second one was Korban Olah for the 4th. And the third brocha, Korban Shlamim. So for 3 sacrifice that Aharon brought, that it means that he sacrificed on the altar that he himself brought, 3 different sacrifices. He blessed the Jewish people for 3 different brachot. But we have to understand what's happening behind it. What does it come to teach us? For everything that the Torah tells us, there is a moral. We say that the Torah is a book of manual. Rabbi Naftali Mirovitch, that born 254 years ago, and he was the student of the Hosea Miluvlin, and also the student of the Magid Mikozovitz. He said that from the word that he say, Vayivarechem, what it mean Vayivarechem, and he blessed them. What it mean and he blessed them? He said from here you learn that the same like Aharon HaKohen blessed the Jewish people without taking money, when people come to a rabbi to bless him, to get blessed, or to get a blessing, not to charge money. And why did I brought that? I brought that specially because many people I heard lately that say, when we go to a rabbi, they ask for money. The reason that I brought it, that when you go to a rabbi to be blessed, a rabbi obligated to bless you without taking money. And if that rabbi asks you for money, you know that there is no value for his blessing. So don't waste your time going for those that care about their pocket. A Yirei Shamayim, a person that has the fear of heaven, will never ask you for money. So if you go to get a blessing and the Rebbe bless you, and he doesn't care about money if you give him or not, then you know that this guy have a chance to be Yirei Shamayim. Let's move on to chapter 10, verse 6. Verse 3. Here we're going to see something very interesting. Chapter 10, verse 3, and it says like this: ויאמר משה אל אהרון, הוא אשר דיבר אדוני לאמור, בקרובי אקדש, ועל פני כל העם אכבד, וידום אהרון.
Moshe said to Aaron, of this did Hashem speak, saying, I will be sanctified through those who are nearest me. Thus I will be honored before the entire people. And Aaron was silent.
Here the Torah tells us that something very interesting. It's after the death of Nadav and Avihu. The Torah tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu brought the message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Aaron, that those are the closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that with those people, HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually going to get sanctified. What does it mean by that? To understand that, Moshe Rabbeinu basically say to his brother Aaron that the Midat Adin, actually, the judgment, actually hit who? Those one that closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to understand why. So I'm going to bring today the opinion of Rabbi Don Yitzhak Abarbanel. He born in Lisbon 577 years ago. Just to give us an idea, he was a philosopher, he was a financial director to the king. Not only that, he was a Jewish leader, during the time that when the people been asked to leave Spain. And he explained it like that. He said that when the Jewish people come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Torah tells us that there is more chance that Midat Adin actually, Has v'Shalom, can hurt him. Midat Adin is the judgment. Why? So Rabbi Dona Barbanel explained like this. If you look at the war, the people that are on the front line have a better chance to get killed than those people that they're in the back line. It's the same when those people come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Those people that serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not only that they have to be so holy and to be so close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they also have to act with certain conduct. So it's come to tell us that those are closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu have a better chance that Midat Adin, Has v'Shalom, can hurt them. Why? Dafka because they serving closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They reach to such a higher level that HaKadosh Baruch Hu judge them with a special microscope. And like our sages say, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu judge the righteous by the thickness of the hair. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu makpid im tzadikim, makpid with who? With the righteous. Not with every human being, only with the righteous. What? How? Kechut ha'sa'ara. That's mean as the thickness of a hairline. So now we understand that what the Torah tells us here, that it say here, Bekrovai Akadesh, what does it mean? With those that closer to me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Those are the higher level. HaKadosh Baruch Hu judge them with a special microscope. Now we understand. So the higher tzaddikim actually have more to fear than anyone else. Let's go to verse 6. ויאמר משה אל אהרון ולאלעזר ולאיתמר בניו, ראשיכם אל תפרעו ובגדיכם לא תפרומו ולא תמותו, ועל כל העדה יקצוף, ואחיכם כל בית ישראל יכבו את השרפה אשר שרף אדוני.
Moshe said to Aaron and his sons Eleazar and Itamar, do not leave your heads unshorn, do not rend your garments that you not die. And he become wrathful with the entire assembly, and your brethren, the entire house of Israel, shall bewail the conflagration that Hashem ignited.
Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu warned Aharon as a Kohen Gadol and both of his son Eleazar and Itamar that they should not get contaminated with the body of Nadav and Avihu. That means not to become tameh. Immediately become the question. We know that a Kohen Gadol, we can understand. A Kohen Gadol, as he's serving as a Kohen Gadol, not allowed to get contaminated to his closer, one of the closer relationship, Shiva Krovim. But when it's come to normal Kohen Ediot doesn't mean that Haz v'Shalom is a Ediot like it sounds in Hebrew. Kohen Ediot, it means a simple Kohen that is not Kohen Gadol. When it's come to his relative and no one to look after him, there's no one there to look after the deceased, they're obligated to look after it. And even if there is, they're obligated to look after that. It's a mitzvah for them to contaminate. So how come here we see that it's not? Just for a source for us to understand, the Gemara in Masechet Zvachim, page 100, page 1, tell us that they're obligated, actually, it's a mitzvah for them, okay, to get contaminated to one of their relatives, especially if it's the brothers, so they're obligated to get contaminated. How come that here, in our parsha, they're not allowed? So to understand that, I brought a source from the Maharhu, Rabbi Chaim Vital. He was a student of the Ari HaKadosh, and he brought a book, Etz HaDa'at HaTov. And his book, Etz HaDa'at HaTov, he said that the main reason that also Eleazar and Itamar wasn't allowed to contaminate it to the brothers, because Shemen Mishhat Hashem, that means that the oil that they've been anointed by the Almighty was on them. And they was considering as Kohen Gadol, and because it was on them, they would not allow to be contaminated to Eleazar and Itamar. I'm going to bring now another opinion of Sefer Baal HaChinuch. Sefer Baal HaChinuch been written by Rabbi Aharon HaLevi. He was from the city of Barcelona. I heard that a lot of people say that that's him that wrote, but I saw another opinion that said that they're not sure that he wrote Sefer HaChinuch. He born 779 years ago, obviously in Barcelona. And he bring the main reason why Dafka, Kohen Gadol, not allowed to contaminate to his relative. So he explained like this. He said that the main reason is that the Kohen Gadol serving the Almighty, and the Kohen Gadol entire thought, entire mind is in such a highly level of spiritual that he should not feel pain, no suffering, no mourning can speak to him, because it's in such a higher level with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that all the rest is not relative to him. That, what does it mean for us to understand? That he should cut himself for all the physical things that exist in this world. And we know that when the Kohen Gadol, in Yom HaKippurim, when he enter Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of Holiness, if for one split of a second he's not focusing to be with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with his thought, for one split of a second, his thought is not on the right place, immediately he gets killed. Now we can understand why the Kohen Gadol not allowed to get contaminated. Dafka, because his thought and his mind should be all the time, 24/7, only on a spiritual thing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We go to verse 16, same chapter 10, verse 16. Here it says something very interesting. It says, "Etz Se'ir HaHatat, דרוש דרש משה, והנה, where is that? Sorry, והנה, שרף ויקצף על אלעזר ועל איתמר, בני אהרון הנותרים לאמור."
Moshe inquired insistently about the he-goat of the sin offering, for behold, it had been burned, and he was wrathful with Eleazar and Itamar, Aaron's remaining sons, saying,
That's it? Okay. So, Darosh Darash. What does it mean, Darosh Darash? I'm going to bring two opinions. The first opinion, I'm going to bring the Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, that we brought his history, that we know that he born in Jerusalem 290 years ago. We explained that. And he explained from that it said Darosh Darash. Here the Torah tells us, and we can hear from there, that if a person have a Hidushim, that means that he can write commentary on the Torah, if he is on a level, if in that level that he can write commentary on the Torah, okay, and he wrote on the past, he can carry on writing. Not only that even what he already wrote a Hidush, he wrote a commentary, and he have a new commentary, he can write. Rabbeinu Ephraim, okay, born 994 years ago, and he was living in Germany, and he wrote in his commentary to the Torah, it's come to teach us that from here we're learning that as much that a person can learn deep into the Torah, and even that the old sages wrote a commentary and here have a new commentary on the same pasuk or on the same opinion, he's entitled to write. As long that Hidush, obviously, have to be Leshem Shamayim, and it have a sense, not like people making Hidushim from his own mind, and they're not Talmidei. As long that he's a scholar, student, he can write it. We're going to move to verse 11, chapter 11, verse 7. Okay, and here we're going to speak about the pig. ואת החזיר כי מפריס, where is it? I lost it. ואת החזיר כי מפריס פרסה הוא, ושוסע ססה, פרסה, והוא גרה לא יגור, טמא הוא לכם.
And the pig, for its hoof is split, and its hoof is completely separated, but it does not chew the cud. It is unclean to you.
Okay, here the Torah tells us that the hazir, we're not allowed to eat it because it has a split hoof, but it doesn't chew his cud. Okay. So the Midrash tells us, we all know what the Midrash tells us, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when the Mashiach come, the hazir is going to be kosher to eat. How can it be? If it's not kosher now, how can it be kosher? So I'm going to bring the opinion of the Radbaz, Rabbi David ben Zimra. He was born 535 years ago in Spain, and he was during the time of the expedition that when they forced the Jewish people to leave Spain. By the way, I don't know if you know about it, but today Spain asked the Jewish people to come back. What does it teach us? Whenever the Jewish go, they bring prosperity to the country. They leave, the country go down. So he was in Spain, then he moved to Morocco until he managed to enter Eretz Israel. And he wrote about, the level of Rabbi David ben Zimra. He said that there is in heaven 365 angels. In heaven there is 365 different angels, and one of those angels have the same name of the animal that we mentioned. And because that angel moved to the impurity side, Rabota, remember that. Okay? We cannot eat that animal. So Rabbi David ben Zimra said when a Mashiach come, that angel gonna move to the impurity side to the purity side. He's gonna be pure, and therefore he's gonna be in charge about all the pigs. Then, when he become part of the purity, then we can eat. From here we see the level of Rabbi David ben Zimra that speak about a bit on a highly spirit level, what we call Kabbalistic. We see his knowledge that even in Kabbalistic. Let's move on. With that I'm going to conclude. We are in verse 19. We're going to move to verse 19. Here the Torah tells us about the Hasidah. What is a Hasidah? It's a crane. Let's read what the Torah tells us. ואת החסידה, הענפה למינה, ואת הדוכיפת, ואת העטלף.
The Chasidah, the Anafa according to its kind, the Duchufas, and the Atalef.
Okay, I want to concentrate here about the Hasidah. Hasidah in English is crane. What does it mean? The Gemara in Masechet Hulin, page 19:1, tell us that why did they call the Hasidah? שעושה משום שעושה חסד עם חברותיה במזונות. That means, Hasidah it's מלשון חסד, kindness. They called her Hasidah. And she do kindness with her friend with food. So our Mefarshim say, if that's the case, why she's not kosher? She doing kindness. So the Rambam explained that. He explained like this, that the main reason that the Hasidah amongst the non-kosher flocks, it's because when she do Hesed, when she do kindness, who she do? What the Midrash say? With Havrotea, with her own friends. And she give them fruit. But if you not amongst her friends, she wouldn't share with you. So the Rambam explained, by the way, the Rambam that born 889 years ago in Spain, he said, true, yeah, the Hasidah do that kind of kindness with who? With a friend. But when it's come to other people, that not amongst her friends, not on a list, she ignored them. She doesn't share with them. What does it come to teach us? And with that I'm going to conclude. Come to teach us, the Torah come to teach us that even when you have people that not amongst your member, they're not friend of yours, when it's come to Hesed, you're obligated to do. And if you don't do it, Has v'shalom, you don't want to be part of the Hasidah. Even that they call the Hasidah kindness and she do, we obligated to do kindness, not only with friend, with everyone. Shukra.